Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, the mother-daughter travel team and publishers of the digital interactive Big Blend magazines. You can check both of them out. We've got Big Blend Radio and TV magazine and Parks and Travel magazine. Just check it out at bigblendmagazines.com. But this is important. You just heard Form and Function. It's by the Brutalists. It's a new rock and roll group featuring founding LA Guns member Mick Cripps and London Quireboys founder Nigel Mogg. And it is on their self-titled debut album. It's out now on Cleopatra-records. You can get the album. It's on all the streaming platforms. Go get it. This is, I'm saying, the best, one of the top 5 albums I have listened to this year in regards to rock and just getting out there. And I don't know, I feel a little defiant. Yeah.
I just want to say that the good music's right here on Big Blend Radio.
Oh, wow. There you go, girl.
How
there
about
you
that?
go. Well, she's the boss.
That's
but
it.
Go to cleorex.com and get the Brutalists. And you can also keep up with them on their website, the-brutalists.net and the-brutalistband.bandcamp.com. They're touring out in California this fall and also over in London, but excited to have Mick join us here on Big Blend Radio today. Mick, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
We're doing good. Thank God for your album. We're really thrilled. To me, it takes me back into, I don't know, my teenage years. And before that, I kind of felt like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm back in the streets of England kicking cans and being stupid in the streets with, fellow friends and doing things that maybe we shouldn't have done.
I think by now we're old enough to actually be able to reference some decent influences from the era we came out of. So it was necessary, I think. There's not a lot of really there's a lot of great music, but in terms of rock and roll, I don't know what it is really defined as anymore. But with us, we just play what we like, and our backgrounds kind of come through. So it's a good record. We're all very pleased with it.
It is a good record. We love the whole thing. You've got a little bit of everything in there. I feel like we've got the ska, we've got a little punk, we've got rock, we've got some blues. One of my favorite songs on the album is Nutter. It's got some, some bluesy vibes in there.
Yeah.
But before we get to that story of that song, I want to just go to the name of the band, the Brutalists. Where did that come from?
Well, it's an architectural style that kind of was, I guess, created or came about in the late 50s and 60s after World War II. They had a housing crisis in much of Europe and England, especially England. So a lot of very forward-thinking architects were designing buildings and structures to replace all the ones that got bombed. So they had to accommodate masses of people, so they had to do it efficiently and economically. And so this style that was turned by, I think it was Alison Smithson, she had a husband named Peter, and they were architects, and they were all very forward, progressive designers. And on paper, they designed these very futuristic, almost Orwellian kind of visionary buildings that were meeting all the demands of the government, in terms of economy and space and everything. But they also injected a lot of really creative, forward-thinking design. And like I said, on paper, it was amazing. The application, though, was very controversial because people were being transported into the future very rapidly. You had all old terrace houses and old Victorian buildings that were being cleared out and replaced by these ultra-modern, dystopian, futuristic structures. And at first it worked because there wasn't a lot of people, but gradually throughout the 60s, all these buildings got very crowded, and you had a lot of diverse populations moving into them. And as it got into the 70s, they became very controversial because of the crime and just the general dysfunction that came about, not because of the buildings. The buildings got actually blamed for it. In fact, I remember Prince Charles in the 80s was on a crusade to tear down all these structures, and they're rapidly vanishing. It's almost like a vanishing architectural form. So and movies like Clockwork Orange and things used them as that same kind of idea of projecting the future as this dystopian, really violent kind of society. But we use it. We're fascinated by it because it sounds interesting, the word, the brutalists, right? But it also is metaphor for a kind of an underdog art form where you had these great creative minds putting together these brilliant buildings, and they got highly criticized by the people that employed them to do it, So a lot of the lyrics in that one particular song you just played, Form and Function, kind of reference that debate, and it's still going on today, because now it's kind of come full circle where you have preservationists that are interested in preserving what's left of the brutalist structures. And they're not only in England and Europe, but there's a lot of brutalist structures in Russia, and even here in America. You see, in the 60s and stuff, that you saw a lot of like football stadiums, concrete forms and things. Like you go to the older football stadiums like the Oakland Coliseum, it's very brutal. It's all, big blocks of concrete and very personal. And it's funny because the football team plays with the Raiders. They have a real bad reputation as well. So maybe it does inspire some negativity. But also in America, there was there's a lot of good examples of brutalist architecture. It's funny too because a lot of them were again used for government buildings during the 60s and the 70s and prisons and things. So it's got a very interesting history about it. And like I said, it's an underdog, and we like the name. We like the idea of the historical references, and it's a metaphor for like the art form being an underdog and being kind of recycled, and people taking a long time to come around to it. So that's kind of how we also felt about the current music rock and roll scene. It's so I guess diversified now that people have kind of lost the essence of what rock and roll really is. So we try to use it, like I said, metaphorically. And, these days it's also hard to come up with a good name, right?
Well, I think, when the Brutalists, I mean, as soon as I heard the name, and then I was like, okay, what's up behind this, And I did some digging around, and obviously watching Form and Function, everyone, the video's out there, so people go check it out. It's on Cleo-Rex on YouTube and also on the Brutalists website, too, if you go to the-brutalists.net. Watching that and really getting that picture. Go ahead.
I'd like to mention real quick, too, give a shout-out to our colleague in London, Oliver Forsyth, who did all the photography for that short little video for Form and Function. We actually sent him around to a lot of these undesirable neighborhoods where those structures are, and he's got a whole essay of brutalist architecture in England. So it's Oliver did a very good job.
I know exactly about that kind of place. I mean, when we lived in England, and just remember, because we got to England after living in Kenya, and most of that time was spent living out in the bush and the boonies, and then all of a sudden here you are in England, and it's all these concrete buildings, and then South Africa, some areas had it, but then when we went there, but living in Mexico, there was this one area, and I remember it was like the first time we'd driven down south by Ensenada, so not far from you in LA, and all of a sudden there was just all these concrete old apartment buildings, but people were still living in them, and I'm like, man, this is bizarre. I'm on the beach, near Ensenada, and I feel like I'm in England with that. You know where I'm talking about, Nancy, where you can smell the fish. But anyway, it's out by the harbor.
It is
and I was
smelly.
Like, whoa, this is so weird. So I know that I think part of South America and Latin America and then Mexico also during that time frame adopted that in. Yeah. And also England went everywhere.
It's funny because it's the same old story where, you have a political system or a government that, approves all these things. And then once something goes wrong, they blame it on the architects or the people who everybody but themselves, So again, there's a lot of layers and levels of metaphors that can be kind of used with this title, which is fun because it gives you something to talk about.
Yeah. And, you got Talk of the Town. We got to talk about that, too. But tell us about the Brutalists coming together, because haven't you played around together in different bands or shared the stage over the years?
Yeah, well, I've been playing in and out of small groups and things, and basically this was a group of friends and that we've known each other. I've known Nigel, forever, and Kent, who's the other guitar player. He actually worked with me in LA Guns way back then. And then I have my brother who plays bass, and a good friend of ours from Rhode Island, and Charlie Nice on drums. And we've all been mutually, doing just for fun jam sessions in our studio. And for years now, we'd have these huge, lengthy jam sessions. Eventually, something came together where we just started songwriting, and we decided to put something out, and we were playing around, and people seemed to like it. So now we're a little more I guess, enthusiastic about it, put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Now, with this album, are you going to be doing a vinyl, or because I know this came out, by the way, you brought the album out on my birthday, which, August 31st, so that's always a good sign when people do that.
Easy to remember, right?
Yeah, it's everybody, but I'm just saying holiday season coming up, just about I don't know anybody who would not like this album unless they're dead. It's got everything in it, and you just want to go out there and start, you want to turn it up very, very loud. And that's good.
Yeah, you can
download it. Go ahead.
For those who have the Apple platform, you can download it on iTunes and Amazon and everything as well. So it's easy to find. And there's a vinyl version, a limited silkscreen vinyl version. I think that it's selling out pretty quick, but then we'll probably put out another run of vinyl with just a 4-color cover. So we're looking to do that. And then, like I said, it's also available on CD.
Awesome. So everyone, you got it. You can get it anywhere. Go get it. cleorex.com. From there, you'll be able to find everything. Yep. Now, I want to talk about Nutter, because that song took me by surprise on the album too, and I started cracking up because I do feel like I know people like Nutter. But tell us about Nutter.
Well, that was like one of our little jam songs, and it almost didn't actually make the record. It was kind of like a bonus track. But it's a song. Nigel wrote the lyrics about this mad woman he was dating in London a couple of years ago, and we can't mention who that is because she's since become very politically infamous, put it that way. But as we've been playing that one song live, people have really responded to it because it is a little bit silly, but it is a real crowd pleaser. So it's a little bit of a surprise to us, the reception we've got on it.
Well,
I think it's bluesy, man. It's very bluesy.
I think everybody has, had a relationship where you just look at the other person and you realize you're dating a nutter.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, again, and those lyrics can apply. It's not just about a particular person. It's about anyone, really. In fact, if I look at it, the more I think about the lyrics, it applies to about 99% of the people I know.
Well, well, I'm just going to send it to Congress and say, hi, guys, how are you?
Send them to Jungle Nasty. Jungle Nasty, that is a cool song. That is like one of my favorites as well, Jungle Nasty. And just even the title, Jungle Nasty, that could be like a second band name for you guys. I love that name.
That was kind of like that was kind of our little bit of our Ian Drury tribute, that one. We were all fans of Ian Drury and the Blockheads, so it kind of has a little bit of that flavor to it.
So tell me about I Don't Believe a Word. It's the very first song on the album. I love it. I don't believe a word, and that could go to a lot of people right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, that was one that we put on right at the last minute. That was the last song that was written and put on there, and the title suggests, obviously, it could be about current administrations, politicians, teachers, especially teachers, are people who think they know everything and they don't. So you can use that line on I guess in a lot of applications. But it's a great song. You should play it.
Okay, we will. And I want to dedicate this to one sub-teacher that told me the Jews disappeared off the face of the earth. Remember that?
Right. See that segue? That was a good segue, wasn't it?
It's like, what are you talking about?
I know.
I'm like, I could introduce you to some.
I know.
And she was so weird. She's like, no, they're all gone.
And then you saw her drunk at happy hour. So there you go.
We nicknamed her T-Rex.
I know. Anyway, this is dedicated to you, T-Rex. I Don't Believe a Word. Everyone, again, go get the album, The Brutalists.
Don't believe a word. I don't believe a word. Don't believe a word you're saying. And you can say it's true. You can say it's true. But the whole world's watching. Don't know what you heard. Life becomes so good. And I don't believe a word. And now I don't believe a word.
Everyone, I don't believe a word again by the Brutalists, and we've got Mick Cripps here. Mick, I feel like this should be a video with a giant floating finger or something in there.
Just like
and it should go, like in the Macy's parade should have it.
No, that famous balloon that.
Yeah, it could be a big balloon.
That
I feel
welcomes somebody to England.
Yeah, just saying.
But like again, you could apply that. You can apply that song to just about anything and anybody. You know what I mean?
I know. I love it. I want it. That should be like a marching song, and it does. Your sound, it just really is very English to me. It really is. It's just
we produced it. We produced it and recorded it ourselves, and we used for some of the tracks. We used a little studio in Boyle Heights in East Los Angeles, and it was really good because it had old vintage gear and everything. So it worked out really well. We liked it. Yeah.
So do you all write lyrics? Is it just like get in there, somebody's got an idea, and then build it together? Or how does that process work?
We all write together. Different people will contribute more parts of everything. Nigel does a lot of the lyrics. Me and Kent do a lot of the music. And we all, arrange it and put it together. And it's a very good working unit. But because one of the biggest problems about bands, especially when you're young, you get in groups and you don't really know the people you've been playing with. You just meet people through associations or ads and things, and then you end up hating each other and you're stuck with them. Whereas we're now old and wise enough to know that the best people you can make music with are your people you get along with and people that are your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's much healthier to do it that way.
It is like a marriage. Do you guys, I know you play in England and in California, do you see yourself going on like a national tour or a world tour? It just feels like, man, you should be like the Stones concerts. I want it that big.
Yeah, we've been playing up in the Bay Area and up the coast, California, and a lot in Los Angeles, Southern California. We're going over to England in a couple of weeks, and then when we get back, we'll do more California. And then we're looking at doing probably a short little East Coast thing, maybe in the early 2019 East Coast, and a little swing through the South as well. So we play almost twice a week now. So it's like we have a couple little bars that we play in downtown Los Angeles on a regular basis, and we have a good time doing that. We keep it low key.
Okay, yeah, so you don't want to do the big stadium thing, or just more of like the more intimate, because the album feels very, very live to me.
Yeah, like I said, the record just came out a few days ago, so we'll see what the demand is.
Yeah. Come on, people, come on.
Demand it.
Get it. Demand the Brutalists. That's how it's got to be.
Demand your brutalism.
Yes, be the brutalist and channel your inner brutalist. Talk of the Town. Tell us about that, because I know we want to play that too.
Yeah, that was Nigel wrote the lyrics on that one, and was more about like we live in Hollywood, so you've got all these people that are clawing to get to the top, you know. So in the movies and whatever, and in 1 minute you're the talk of the town, next minute you're gone. So unless you understand that, you don't keep your feet on the ground. So it's kind of referencing that, you know.
You know, it's interesting too, because when you're talking about when you're young in a band, and then, you know, as you get into the process, get the experiences under your belt, isn't that part of keeping a band together and understanding each other? And understanding that 1 minute you're at the top, 1 minute it's like, okay, we got to do another hit or something like that. Is that conversation where you all understand that part of it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, we're old and wise enough to not have any illusions, put it that way, or delusions, should I say?
What makes you the happiest?
We're compelled to do this. To tell you the truth, you know, we love to play, and we always play anyway. We've been jamming together for years, so it was just kind of directed itself. So, and the main thing is just having, you know, like I said, if you're in a group situation, so you know, it's important that the people that you are in the group with, you respect each other and you enjoy each other's company, and most importantly, you have a good thread of humor, because you can't take you know, all this too seriously. Yeah.
I like that.
So,
I like that.
You need to laugh at things.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, there you go. The ABCs of keeping a group together.
Yeah. Laugh, ego at the door. But you have to still have ego. You have to have that balance of ego in there to stand up and, you know.
Well, you could say confident.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Well, look at the Rolling Stones, and you got to remember, the Rolling Stones never broke up. You know, they've been going forever. So, you know, God bless them.
But they're funny.
Yeah, man, they're fit too. And basically, who was it said that we're keeping the world alive just for Keith Richards?
That's right.
Funny.
He's going to outlive climate change.
Yeah,
he's gonna
I hope so.
I know, me too.
I hope so.
Speaking of that, man, the guitar work on this album is insane. And then at the same time, like I start like tuning into it, and then it's like that bass just, I don't know, you guys are just amazing to me. I really, I have to say, it's like on the, you know, in the top 5, top 3 albums of just wanting to rock out and, I don't know, just channel your brutalism. Not brutism.
Channel your brutalist.
I know. It's just really one of the top. As soon as you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, man. Yes. Thank God for that. Someone has put out some really good stuff, and we need it going into the next year. And thanks for joining us. This has been a treat having you on the show and hearing the new music, and we're excited about it and excited. Hopefully we'll get to see you guys perform live, because I think that's always the coolest thing is get the live show.
We'd love to come out to Tucson in Arizona and play out there. So by all means, get a hold of us.
Yeah, you know what?
We'll come out
Rialto
and play.
Theater at 1-800 Rialto Theater. You got to call the Brutalists or Monterey Court. There's a couple good venues out here, and Tucson is turning the music scene upside down right now. Yeah, Tucson is really changing, and we're such a diverse community.
It's a pretty young community, actually.
Yeah, we got a university. They'll love it. Awesome. Right. Well, we're going to play Talk of the Town, and thanks so much for joining us. Everyone, again, go get the album, The Brutalists, and you can go to cleorex.com. You can also go to thebrutalistband.bandcamp.com or right to their website, thebrutalist.net. Of course, they're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places. Keep up with them there. I want to give a shout-out to the National Parks Arts Foundation for sponsoring today's show. They are an amazing organization where they work with musicians and artists and writers and put them in a national park for a month where you just get to create. And I'm just saying they have one for musicians out in Hawaii. How about that? Would you like to do that? And they're putting a recording studio in a house there, Mick. So I'm just saying.
It's really nice.
I know. I think you
should
go.
Set it up. We'll go.
I know.
I could just imagine some kind of surf music coming out of this band.
I know. Or it'll be volcanic.
Yeah.
Yes. The volcanoes and the brutalists.
Yeah.
I love it.
Everybody,
again, keep up with us at BigBlendRadio.com and in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. The fall issue is out, so go get it. But here it is, Talk of the Town. Thanks for joining us, Mick.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
I've had a bit of a run-in. I got a monkey for that